Hey guys, welcome back. Lucid, and we are back with another turn. Another one for, because it's exciting. We're in war. It is spring in year one. So if you're doing expansion testing, this is when you would be done. And you can see we are heavily invested in a war already. And if you count our provinces, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Not bad. Had some fights here. This is kind of cool. I was a little worried he would put people here and then our raid wouldn't work. But he did not do the moves quite that I thought he would. Big picture, he did. But he committed the god to fighting Tianchi. Rather than fighting me. And, in some ways that makes sense, because he's in a bit of an impossible situation. Because for him to hold... Or for him to hold well, let's rephrase that. For him to hold well, he has competing objectives. Well, we had another fight here. I'll show you this first. For him to hold well, he has competing objectives. He needs to keep this choke point from Tianchi, and he needs to not lose his fort to me. So what I thought he would do was take his god this turn and move it over here. And that's why I made sure to ping this so I could see if his god showed up. And if so, what all was present. Well, he didn't do that. He kept the god down here. Now, I knew that the god plus his little dudes, his little army he has here, would not be enough to kick me off this fort. And I was thinking he needed to bid on all the mercs. And so I bid on all the mercs, and I bid on them over by like 50, and nobody had been bidding on them, so I figured over by 50 was probably pretty safe. Ish. I can't remember exactly how much I bid. Might not have been quite 50. Sorry, I got the yawns, it's late here. But it was definitely not the minimum. It was definitely not the minimum. Anyway, I was... You know, it's kind of fun when you're playing and you're anticipating what the other player does, and they do it, and you can just kind of see it, and it kind of validates your own thinking that, yeah, that probably is the best move to do. And it also, you know, means they're thinking along this... I don't know. It means y'all are both thinking about the game in similar ways, which in some ways is a credit to both people. So, yeah, he got a bunch of mercs. He got all these mercs. One of the problems, though, is these are all shitty mercs. Meaning, I think this is a bunch of spearmen. This is a bunch of macemen. This is a bunch of guys with little pirate swords, falchions, I think, and no shield. Nobody here has great armor. I don't know. They all kind of melt. And I have... let me actually pull up. I run a test game. What happens if he marches this into me? Because I'm like all in here. Not all in. I mean, I'm not going to lose the game if I lose this fight, but I'll lose pretty bad. I mean, it's going to go downhill. Like, this gets posted to the game chat. Other people in their nap with me. We have to peace out. Bad things happen if this army dies, okay? Very bad things. So because of that, and because... my plan A of buying the mercs and using them to raid him was not successful. Plan B is we have to kill the mercs. Now, there's some silver linings in all of this, and I'll walk you through them. But the main one is that he has to take this now. Nothing from his cap is going to be able to reach, I don't think. The worm is in the cap, but the worm is 16 map move. And the worm would be able to move here, except its enemy dominion. He would have to go through the... He has basically barely... I'll show you what I mean. Like, so... these guys do not have snow move. So this will be the equivalent of looking at how far these guys can go through 2 planes. So this is a planes, this is a planes, and this is a planes, effectively. Through 2 planes, it's 16 to get somewhere, right? If it's, I don't know if I have a good example. So like here, from here to here, this is a mountain, not a highland. To here, a mountain, not a highland. 8, 8, 20 to get here. So he would need 4 more movement than he currently has for the snake to get here. So not possible. What that means is that this army, as we saw it here, plus all the mercs, which are a known entity, are going to come and attack me. And the question, what can he do? Now, the good thing about this is that he basically has a predictable move. The only reason he would buy them is to kick me off the fort. And if he doesn't kick me off the fort, then he's gonna kind of be on a slow way out of the game. So how will that work? What are the problems he has to solve? Well, the problems he has to solve are basically this. These guys have very good attack and pretty good defense and very good protection, but they don't have very good damage. And the problem is this 17 slashing damage, not piercing, is going to have a very hard time going through my Malia Drazina's armor, which is 18. It's basically going to be chip damage. They're hardly ever going to hit. I mean, not only are they most of the time not going to get through defense, more often than not, they'll get blocked, but the times they do hit, it's going to be slashing, so it's going to be versus the full 18 protection. They're going to have to roll a couple DRN points just to do any chip damage. Now, we will be a little bit in the same boat, except our lance charge will murder them. So if they're in front and they get hit by the lance charge, GG. They will, however, in Cold 3, be rather immune to my sword attack. Right? So, and I think he has a couple of these glaive dudes mixed in, like 2 or 3, but it's not going to matter. But you see, they have really high protection. This is not going to be enough to protect them from a lance charge. It will take the edge off, right? But it's not going to protect them. And these guys will hit hard enough to get through my protection, but they have really bad attack, and I've got like 16 defense. So, and they'll get tore up by lance charges too. So that's the problem. He's got these guys who can maybe take the edge off the lance charge, but can't do a ton of damage. These guys who can't take a lance charge and aren't going to hit very often. And, he's got a big... If he just ran these guys in, we would smite him to death. So he brings in all the mercs, and he gets wrecked by... Basically, my heavy cav is either going to waste their lances on these guys, like on the high-quality units, and ruin them, or they will waste the lances on the mercs, but then the mercs are gone, and as soon as they're routing, all the smites are going to target the good dudes. I just don't think there's a way around it, is what I'm trying to say. There's nothing I don't think he can do. I don't think there's anything he can do to make this work. One thing I was a little worried about is we know there's an Astral 2 in here, his hero. There may be a lab. It's possible that he does anti-magic, which would make a difference, but honestly, the Malia Drazina are going to do most of the heavy work here. The formation I have is we basically got a group in the middle and 2 people on the flanks. They're on hold and attack rear. The other thing that we're doing, we went from 5 enemy candles to 1 this turn. We preached like crazy. And in case somehow by some act of God, his god can make it, like I miscalculated, he got a heroic trait that I didn't know existed, like maybe heroic quickness. You can't get that on your god, by the way. Maybe there's something I don't know about and the god can get here. Well, we'll have our Dominion present, so it'll be much easier to kill the god. In addition, having my Dominion is going to mean my guys get -2 morale and his guys get -2 morale. So we're going to have a lot of these guys preach, and we're only going to have two of my mages storm the fort. And yeah, because this will be enough. Just these guys on hold and attack rear should wipe out. That should wipe out any kind of stuff he has inside, because there's not much inside. I think it's his mage, which is probably going to come out to fight, so it won't be in there. It's probably just an empty fort. That being said, let me show you guys how this battle will play out. I'm going to pause it. Okay. So we've got it all set up here. This basically is the same thing I have. I forgot to script my eparchs. We'll do this real quick. I think, okay, I've got 3. We'll do 3, which is the one for Sermon of Courage first. That looks fine. We'll have another guy on Divine Blessing. Perfect. And, yeah, we got some dude storming the fort. So we'll see what happens on the fort storming too. The thing that's a little interesting is, how does Atlantis position his dudes? Now, these aren't the exact same spearmen or whatever he'll get. Maybe they're a little better or something. These are the same. The macemen are the same, and the pirates are the same. But I think the spearmen are a little bit different. Maybe his are a little better. And that could matter. It's 50 units. Let me pause and see. Okay, yeah, so the Merc Spearmen get like 2 more protection, but they lose. This guy's got an experience star, but the Merc probably have experience stars too, so I don't know. It's like 1 less defense. Those things can matter, but I don't think it's going to matter a ton. Anyway, they're coming in. I know that this fails, and I haven't tested this a bunch. But because I know it fails, I think what I'm going to do is I think we're going to let these guys eat the lance charge. And I think we're going to have these guys kind of follow in here, and then we'll try to just break through the middle. But we want the lance charge to go on these guys. We'll put them in a line. They're kind of slow. We'll put them out in front. We'll see how that works. I don't think it's going to do very well at all. And we've got one guy who's a prophet who's going to be doing some Sermon of Courage and then smiting. Because they're going to need all the courage they can get. So we'll see how it goes. And I remember approximately how it did the first time when I tested it. So I'll tell you if putting those guys in front did better or worse. Yeah, it's about like normal. It looks like I took a bit more attrition. I think last time I did it, I got like 7 attrition. Okay, now we got 4. Okay, so not much. Maybe it's better to have other people eat the lance charge. Hard to say. Hard to say. But you can see, even though it's like the same number of units, we absolutely fucked them up. Like it's an absolute beatdown. Some of it, and I actually had this set up in this test game the same way, is one of the things you'll notice, and I didn't show you, but this was hostile Dominion the turn before, like 1 or 2 candles, and then I had my guys preach, and they preached it up enough where for these guys it's now hostile, and for me it's now friendly. Because preaching happens before battles, which is kind of cool. Oh, one thing that is a problem is just because of how I was recruiting, and I've had this test game open, and I hit intern way too many times, they've ended up getting a bunch of stars. So these are like Super Saiyan Melody of Drusina with 3 stars. I went and reran this. I didn't save it, which is why when I just pulled it up now, it has the Super Saiyan Malia Drusina back in. But I went and retested it without Super Saiyan Malia Drusina, and we lose. That was when we lost like 7 or 8. So we'll lose a bit more. But, you know, if the battle's even close, the fact that it'll be in my Dominion, and we've got a really good leader now too, this guy with 120, and inspirational, means the bulk of my forces really are going to have a hard time running. So he would have to win pretty decisively because he's going to be getting big, reasonable morale penalties. I think he has pretty good leadership dudes too, but anyway. That is why I feel rather confident. And of course, Dominions, there's always uncertainty. Like, there's always something that you don't know. So maybe he has some ace up his sleeve that I can't think of. But, and I think this is an important thing. Like, you have to at sometimes make plays, and you have to take your best guess at what the enemy has, and connect as many dots as you can, and figure out if you think you have a decisive advantage. And when you do, you have to press hard. You can't just be scared or worried for no reason. Otherwise, you'll play too passively. Like, to make epic plays, to make good plays, you have to know when you have the advantage and you have to go for it. But, sometimes you do that and it all messes up, and it doesn't work. So yeah, there's that. Also, of note, we have named, this was Agrippa's idea, we named all these guys the lyrics to Ra Ra Rasputin, and they should go in the order they go off. So, our prophet, a certain man in Russia, he was big and strong. In his eyes, a flame growing. Most people looked at him. With terror and fear. But to Moscow chicks, he was such a lovely dear, full of ecstasy and fire. But he also was the kind of teacher. Anyway, it keeps going. So we'll see. Anyway, we're storming with what we have left. That should be fine. And an interesting little play we're doing here. So these Bakemono are coming to reinforce because we're going to need, a little extra help here if we can manage. I was nervous, by the way, about taking this because I was worried Arco was going to come in and vulture, but Arco must have another target in mind. These guys who did this little ninja raid are going to come down here. And by the way, this is like the crippled squad. They didn't get this from the raid. I basically, because this is high risk, I could just lose them. I just went and put most of my cripples, so long as they're not like a limp. Well, limp, I would probably put them in here too, but maybe with a slightly different job. But anyway, they're going to come down here and take this. This actually does not have a ton of PD. This does not have a ton of PD, and this is probably enough PD we can take it if we get a nice flank, kind of like we had before. And if this army moves out, I don't think he's going to move much else in to defend, and he'll probably use his gold in another way, but we'll see. But if I do this, this would increase his losses since he's going to have less stuff able to retreat. Also, it's going to give me access to his cap circle again. What I expect him to do. So wait, before I get into that, actually, I have to tell you what happened with Tianchi. So he had a PD dump and his god present, and he brought all of his mages. So full commitment, and his mages were just doing like level 1 animate skeleton, like almost nothing. And unfortunately for Tianchi, he had his guys scripted like hold an attack, but because his heavy cav and his sacreds, I think he was using mostly sacreds. Where are we? Tianchi. It's Joman. Right above. Okay. So these guys, they've got the Howling Bow. Well, they ran in, they did the lance charge. Once the lance charge was done and they had killed the first squad they were hitting on, a lot of these guys switched to shooting, and some of them kept on running into the next squad. And he didn't understand why. And it ended up meaning that he kind of made half contact after the first wave, and the worm picked off a lot of his dudes before he ended up killing enough stuff to make the worm run away. And then the worm retreated to the capital. But he took way big losses, way bigger than he should have. And I was explaining to him, and so I'll explain to you how we think this works. Because this came up in my late age man game with my wardens. They would run in, fight. Then once they've killed some people, they start shooting with their crossbow. And you're like, damn it, no, I need you to fight. If you recall, I think I lost or almost lost one battle because of that. And it was like a very tight battle, and I really needed them to fight, and they just sat there and shot. Anyway. There's actually not really a way to fix it. What happens, the mechanic at play, is when you script them to hold an attack, like closest, it's going to find the closest squad, and it's going to issue an attack order on them. Right? And like that's very specific. However, once that squad is dead or routed, then that command is over. It's done. Squad killed. It's going to then basically go off script. And by that, it's no longer going to be committed to attacking. And it's going to just decide based on where it is it going to shoot or attack? Now, if the next squad it targets is very close to it, it's probably going to attack. If the next squad it targets, which is usually kind of random, is farther away, it's going to shoot. So I honestly don't really know if there's any... I forget who it was somebody was looking at it with me and doing a bunch of testing, and they were trying to figure out if there's any way to get these guys to behave reliably and just forget that they have a bow. Not these guys, but any kind of cavalry or unit that has a big melee weapon and a bow. And they just couldn't figure it out. And I couldn't really figure it out when I was looking at it with Late Age Man either. In this case, though, I think there is a solution, which is he could do hold and attack large, and then it would run in after the worm. And because the worm's never going to die, it would never retarget. So I actually shared this with him. Because I think these guys are strategic allies for me, and I want to help them in any way. And I really am... On one hand, him losing a lot here means it's going to be more likely that I'm going to be the one that's going to chew through the capital, which I'm totally fine with, and leave him basically everything south of the capital, and these is, I think, the border that I'm hoping to have. I would also be okay if he gets the capital, but because he's going to get these farmlands here, I think it's going to be fair that that I probably get the capital. However it is, though, it's going to come down to more who is ready at the right time. And him losing a big squad here means it's going to be less likely it's going to be him, basically. Anyway, all of that is important context for what moves to expect next. TNG is a little battered and bleeding, and Atlantis still probably has a decent but not great amount of money from which to spend. That's how he bought all these mercs, because he can only make a few units which cost a ton of resources out of his capital, which he's not even now. He's got 2 of his cap circle provinces missing, so he only has 2, which means he's not able to recruit much. So he has a lot of disposable income, not a lot of ways to spend it. He's probably going to buy these mercs, the Black Fists, which I bid on, but probably didn't bid on enough. I mean, how many is it? 20? Yeah, they kind of suck. I guess I could bid a little bit more. We'll do 203. Okay, there we go. 205. So he's probably going to bid on the mercs. He's probably going to PD dump. I don't know where. I think he's going to PD dump this. So let's think about his moves. His god's here. He's probably going to take these units and raid here. The other option is he takes all these units and his god and his mages, and he says, fuck you, TNG, I'm attacking. And he goes here. This move would be pretty smart for him, because securing this choke point, because there's no amphibious or sailing or anything that TNG has, this choke point is going to control and protect a large portion of his empire, and has a much better chance of allowing him to stay in the game. However, TNG is probably going to PD dump. With the support of their mages, with the support of their sacred cav, it's probably going to be very, very hard for these guys to take, because TNG also gets a very good PD type. Like when you PD dump above a certain threshold, you start getting... Well, I don't think there's anywhere that I've done it, but when you PD dump above a certain threshold, you start getting the national units in the next tier. And Atlantis gets pretty good ones, but TNG gets excellent ones in the next tier. I think they get dudes with lance charges and things like that. So, yeah, basically they're going to PD dump this. And I had suggested to them that they maybe just do a small little raid out and start getting this from Atlantis, because, you know, Atlantis is going to have a lot of disposable income that they could use to PD dump, but so far these have just been little 6 PD little blobs. So I'm not sure that he's going to put any more PD here. And I think this army is either going to raid me here, or it's going to go with the god and come back down and try to control this. And either way, you know, it's probably not going to go here. And so unless there's a really impressive PD dump, you know, the TNG's Cav are so good at raiding PD. So I was thinking, take a few guys, come over here, go ahead and start chipping away at this. And if somebody else is thinking about vulturing Atlantis, like Phalegra, who's over here, that might be a nice way to kind of cut them off. So anyway, that was kind of what I was suggesting to him, but he's going to do what he wants. But because of all that, I don't think the move is for this army in the capital to reinforce here. I also don't think the move is for the worm to move here. And I also don't think, given all the other things he's worried about, he's going to PD dump this. Like, if anything, he would put PD here, maybe more PD here or something. I don't think he's going to think I'm going to attack here. But we are. We're totally going to attack here. We've got more reinforcements coming in, guys. So, Bakemono coming in here. Over here, we've got this group, another 15, 16 heavy cav, who are going to be picking up some more Bakemono and running over here to help finish securing things. We're starting, this fort finally finished this turn, and we're getting, I think this is 20, we can count it here. Don't want to waste any resources, so 11. Yeah, so it's exactly 20, actually. 20 crossbows. We're building a lab here. I site searched, didn't find anything. This guy is moving out because we're going to prepare to go on their capital. And, you know, best case is next turn we can consolidate this army with this army plus this mage in this province, and we'll be set up to hit his capital next turn. And I'll have this guy scripted to Spirit Curse. He's not doing it now because there's no reason to. But, and there is, by the way, a chance that we get raided here. So, that would be a little unfortunate. In fact, the chances may be high enough. I'll bump this up to 15. Yeah. We'll see how that works. But, yeah, we've got, if everything goes according to plan, he's going to fail to take the battle here. We're going to storm the fort and take it. If we're very lucky, we'll take this farmland too. Don't know where his god's going to go. Then we'll collapse here next turn, and then turn after we'll be on top of his cap. So that's the plan. We've still got reinforcements coming in. At some point, we're getting to the point where I do want to flesh... I felt comfortable with my other borders because I don't think any of my neighbors are going to attack me. These guys are going to go after Patala, I think. And of course, they told me that. I'm not going to tell Patala because I'm not going to betray information somebody's given to me. These guys are going to go after Joman. So I think what's going to happen, Patala is going to go after Raga. Until they find out they're about to get elf. And Kalem is going to go after Joman and kick Raga out, because right now Raga is on or near their cap. They had been on it before, and Raga lost a stack. He lost like 13 or 14 Zayedans and his prophet to a pretty big Joman army. So Joman successfully kicked Raga off his cap once it had been put under siege. But... you know, that's really slowed him down. I don't know if he has any other forts. I think he started going underwater, but I don't think he has any other forts. And Raga's bearing down on him. You know, Patala and Kalem were going to go after Raga. However, I'm pretty sure Patala is about to get elfed super hard. And when that happens, he's not going to put any pressure on Raga. So then it will really just be Calum fighting over spoils for Joman. And in my humble opinion, when you have a situation like that, often it just makes sense to split the spoils rather than to go into a full-on fight. But we'll see what actually happens. But those are the developments over here. Either way, Calum is in a pretty good spot. Because either he's going to get to Vulture Joman, or potentially take Joman. If Patala attacks him, Raga may completely withdraw and just leave Joman injured for Calum to swoop in and finish him off. So Calum's probably going to be in a pretty good spot to do that. Anyway, attacking me is not going to be an easy... Well, we have a nap, and by the time our nap ticks down, I would be able to prepare a rather good counter defense. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to have anything in particular that he's going to want to do to me. I think he's set up to do other things. And that's all my neighbors. They're all spoken for. Midgard going to elf Patala, probably. Raga going to go get Joman. That's currently underway. Calum coming in to spoil that. Yeah, so I can actually, we're safe for now. And like I had said, next war we're probably going to be set up to Vulture. So to do that, I want to start building up armies in my other forts. This fort's 3 turns away. We've got a guy coming over here to site search this turn, and then he's going to build a lab next. Yeah, we need to get some armies built up, and we'll probably get ready to go for thrones. I think I probably want to control this one and this one, but maybe what I should do is get a 5-fold angel down here and have her go spy and see what this is. And then we can have her blood hunt or something. But be good to know what throne this is before I give it up. But right now it's really under Calum's kind of dominion. I only have... It would be like a weird little peninsula for me. But yeah, we're starting to get researchers out. I mean, our research is humming along now at 60, which is not great, but it's not horrible. We're getting occultists to come out. Now, we could get more Master of Names, but I want to have I think I want to have a pretty big occultist squad. And I thought I was actually going to need Flaming Arrows for my first war. I don't think I will. Yeah. But I may need it to take these thrones here. So I don't know. We're going to get one of these forts is going to make real combat mages, and then this one will probably make, or we might mix it up, but one of these will make Master of Names. One of them's probably going to make occultists. The other thing is Master of Names are way better in Drain. If you take Magic 3 like I did, or Magic 2, I mean, occultists are fine. They're not, you still want to have a lot of Master of Names, but don't go crazy. Like getting too many things which, are just pure research efficiency. Like you're going to need some stuff that can fight. And that is what our occultists are going to do. So I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. We got an event. Got some resources, but lost some population. Probably okay, actually, because this was in... Normally, I wouldn't like that, but it's in our province with the Steel Oven, so we have a phenomenal amount of resources here. We're really able to pump out a lot of Malia Druzina. 4 Malia Druzina turn, and then something Peshti. Peshti, we're going to need some people to surround our Mage Corps, and that's really the Peshti's job. So the way I'm seeing this is we'll probably have like a big... Mage Corps surrounded by Peshti, probably on Guard Commander. We're going to probably have a crossbow section. And then depending on how we're thinking, we need to deal with the flyers of Calum or whoever it is that we're fighting next. We're going to have the Malia Druzina in front in the front and in the back. So kind of like a sandwich, if you will. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking for what we do. And, I think that's the end of the turn. Wish me luck. It's going to be cathartic killing these guys. Normally, I would feel a little bad about doing a 2v1. I feel not bad at all these guys were like sloppy fifths for being the gangbangers. So gonna feel just fine. Gonna feel just fine. But they're playing well so far. So, yeah, I'm not actually mad at them, but there is retribution that needs to be had. So it's cathartic. It is cathartic. All right, guys. I will see you next time.